22nd of July 2006. There are 7 people in a compound, all kneeling down, fear written all over their bodies, all anxious, filled with anxiety, wondering what would be the next thing that will happen to them. They probably were whispering to each other, asking for the next line of action. Their names: Kosi, Kelechi, Anne, Jessica, Vivian, Chizoba, and Chiejile. A man is standing with them with a gallon of petrol, which he pours all over their bodies, and he sets them ablaze. 6 of them would survive that night, but 1 person would be dead, unfortunately. Today we're covering the story of the delusional pastor, Reverend King, who was able to brainwash his congregation and his followers into being as delusional as he was. This story is going to cover the rise and the fall of Reverend King. Let's get right into the story. Hello and welcome to Sleuthville. My name is Lled and I'm always your host on this channel. On this channel we discuss true crime stories and mysteries, and if this is something that you are interested in, please make sure to click on that subscribe button and also give this video a like. Don't forget to do that. Chukwuemeka Ezeogo, popularly known as Reverend King, was the general overseer of the Christian Praying Assembly (CPA), whose head office was in Ajao Estate, Lagos, Nigeria. Chukwuemeka hails from Anambra State in the southeastern part of Nigeria, and he had his primary and secondary school education in Onitsha, Anambra. He went on to obtain a psychology degree at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University. After his university education, he moved to Lagos in search of greener pastures, and after some years being in Lagos, he decided to start up his own ministry. He decided to become a pastor, and then he started up the Christian Praying Assembly, also known as CPA. He was known to be very manipulative with his followers and his congregation, maybe because he studied psychology, so he knew how to twist their minds into believing every single thing that he said. We live in a world now where people worship their pastors rather than God himself. You see people say things like, oh, my pastor said this, my pastor said that, my pastor said I should do this, my pastor said I should do that, and then when they'll be praying, they'll be saying, oh, God of Reverend King, help me, God of so and so pastor, help me. And then you start to wonder, what if the God of that person is not actually the God that you want to serve? What if they are actually serving other type of gods, and then you're praying and you're saying, God of this person, help me, God of this person, help me? So like I said, Reverend King was in the business of brainwashing his followers into believing every single thing that he said. If he said stone was bread, these people would literally believe that stone was bread. And if he said water was rice, they probably would believe that water was actually rice. They followed everything that he said, hook, line, and sinker. He called himself their God and the maker of the universe, and they believed that he was their God and the maker of the universe. Now at this point, I feel like we need to define what delusion is. Delusion in psychology is a rigid system of beliefs with which a person is preoccupied and to which the person firmly holds, despite the logical absurdity of the beliefs and the lack of supporting evidence. So it's safe to say that he managed to brainwash his followers into being delusional, and he himself was delusional as well, because how do you proclaim yourself as God and the maker of the universe? Well, as they say, nothing lasts forever. Everything came crashing down for Reverend King following an incident that happened on the 22nd of July 2006. He called together 7 of his followers, of his core followers, which he referred to as his children, but they were in no means biologically related. These were just people from his congregation that he convinced to come live with him under certain circumstances. Now, he had a number of rules in his house, and on that particular day, he called all of them together. This was because he felt that they had broken some of the rules that he had given them, and he decided to set 7 of them ablaze. 6 of them were able to escape from that situation. Unfortunately, 1 of them died. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happened on that day. According to one of the prosecution witnesses, Chizoba, who was one of the other 6 people that were able to escape on the said day, she gave her part of the story in court, and this was what she said. She said that Reverend King called her to come and live with him in his house as his permanent maid. Now, she said that he told her not to inform her parents of where she was living or of the facts that she was living with him. She said he gave her a ring to wear, and this was a symbol to show that she was his permanent maid, and that this was also put into writing. He also made her promise that she would never get married. Now, this lady, Chizoba, stated that he instructed her that every single time she was going to serve him, that she had to come stark naked, as in completely nude, not having any piece of clothing on her body. Now, there are no claims that there was any form of sexual assault involved. At least I did not see anything like that, but this just goes to show the kind of person that this pastor, Reverend King, was. She served him for many years, for several years, and this was the same case for several other followers of his. She explained that he was a very violent person and that he would sometimes flog them for doing the wrong things. He would flog them for going against his rules. These are people that are actual adults, adults. He would flog them for going against his rules, flog them for doing, things that he felt were bad. He would flog them at every slightest opportunity. And Reverend King never refuted any of the claims made by this lady pertaining to the flogging part. In fact, he said, and I read, "I am a preacher. I know that the spirit of witchcraft is against the Almighty God. If somebody is a liar, he's bewitching God. I don't condone lie. Dr. King does not condone sin. I flog a lot. I have canes. If husband and wife mess up by having misunderstanding, I have to settle them. But the person that is at fault, I must flog. If the person refuses to be flogged, I will send him out of the church." Do you guys understand what this man is saying? So just to summarize, he's saying that he flogs a lot. In fact, he has multiple canes in his house. And if, for instance, a husband and a wife are having misunderstanding, that he would settle them, and then whoever he feels is at fault, he would flog that person. This is actually very funny, that he would flog that person, and if the person refuses to be flogged, he would send the person out of his church. Are we getting an understanding of what this man does? Now, Chizoba, the prosecution witness, explained every single thing that happened on that night. She said on that night that a person known as Lled was sent to come call her from the boys' quarters. So she lived in the boys' quarters in Reverend King's house. And when she came, Reverend King started flogging her and beating her with all sorts of things, and she asked what she had done wrong, and Reverend King said that she had lied to him, that she did not commit the sin of fornication, when in fact Lled had confessed to him that he had been sleeping with Chizoba. Now, from Chizoba's statement, she had said that Lled actually lied to Reverend King about that fact of committing the sin of fornication just to avoid being killed by Reverend King. However, that did not seem to work. Now, she and the other 6 people were said to have committed the same kind of sin, or maybe different kinds of sin, in the eyes of Reverend King, and he decided that the best thing to do was to set them ablaze. So he poured petrol on their body and he lit them on fire. She said that she was able to escape, and I'm sure the other 5 people were also able to escape, but a particular lady known as Ann Uzo was unable to escape and she died. Now, Reverend King had a different story to tell as to what happened that night. Reverend King stated that on that particular day, 20 members of his church actually got married, and he was in high spirits. He was in celebration mode, and he was just in his house with a couple of people, having fun and just being in a very, very good mood when someone hurriedly came to call him to attend to an important matter. He said he heard shouts of "Daddy, Daddy," and that was coming from one of his female followers, Kelechi. Now, he said he ran outside to meet her, and then he saw flames on one of his daughters. And please take note that all these daughters that he's calling are not biologically related to him. They are just his followers. And then he said he saw flames on his daughter, and he tried to rush her to the tap to quench the fire on her body, but unfortunately the tap was not running. He said he was praying as well when he was trying to quench the fire on her body, and that fortunately the fire went off, and that they had to rush Anne to the nearest hospital, but unfortunately she was pronounced dead. In his statement, he mentioned that there were several witnesses that were there when this thing happened. He stated that afterwards, armed policemen came to arrest him on the grounds that he poured petrol on his followers and tried to set them ablaze. And he mentioned that he was very surprised that how would he pour petrol on his followers, people that he took as his daughters and his sons? How would he pour petrol on them and set them on fire? However, this is what I have to say. If he claimed that he had witnesses that saw what happened that day, why did those people not come forward to state that this was what happened, that he was only trying to assist, that he was not the person, in fact, that tried to set them ablaze? This just goes to show that his story was actually very flawed. In September 2006, Reverend King was arraigned before a court, and there were several witnesses prosecution witnesses that came out to testify against Reverend King. And after all was said and done, after the court proceedings, he was found guilty for the murder of his follower Ann Uzo, and also for the attempted murder of 6 other people. He was given the capital punishment for the murder of Ann Uzo, and then he was also sentenced to 20 years for the attempted murder of 6 of his followers. This verdict was given in January 2007. Reverend King has tried so many times to appeal this case. He appealed it the first time, and this verdict was still upheld by the court. And he has spent so many years in prison. I think he has spent about 20 years now, if not more, in prison, and he still tries to appeal this case. Now, this is where things get very dicey. This is where things get very interesting. If I told you guys that this Reverend King pastor actually still has followers that are obsessed with him, would you call me a liar? Well, he still has followers that are very, very invested in him, very, very invested in his cause. In fact, they still see him as their God. Is that not, are they not Delulu, or is it Delulu? Is it not some sign of mental illness, to be very honest? Because how can you still believe in that kind of person? These people, this set of his followers, believe in him so much that on his birthdays, they would spend so much money publishing birthday wishes for him in newspapers. There was a certain case in 2021 when his followers published a 17-page publication just wishing him happy birthday in a very, very popular newspaper in Nigeria. Are these people, can you see the level of manipulation? Can you see the kind of hold that he has on these people, where up to this point some of them still believe that he's actually innocent of these crimes despite overwhelming evidence against this man? In 2019 as well, it was said that he actually filled a nomination form, a presidential nomination form, to become the president of Nigeria. Tell me how delusional these people are. Explain it to me, please, because I do not seem to understand. And his followers literally had campaign posters pasted all over the country. I have no words to explain what is actually going on there what is actually going on in these people's head. Did he actually cast a spell on them? Is there some sort of supernatural power that this man used to hold these people? Because for the life of me, I cannot understand it. Just recently, an NGO has come out to say that Reverend King should actually be released from prison, that he should be pardoned, especially seeing the fact that he has maintained his innocence for the past 20-something years that he has been in prison, and for the fact that he had spent so much time in prison, that he should be pardoned and released from prison. However, this is yet to be done, and I don't think that he'll be let out from prison anytime soon. You guys, please let me know. Let's discuss in the comment section. What do you think of this case? Do you think that there is any justification for what he did? Is there any moral or religious justification or ethical justification for what Reverend King did to his followers? Was it justified that he killed someone, he set her ablaze just because he felt that she committed the sin of fornication? I mean, Christianity believes that Christ has died for all our sins and that we should be forgiven. So why would a pastor that claims to believe in Christianity set his follower ablaze just because he felt that she committed a sin? Was it justified that he was flogging his congregation or flogging his followers? Is that not some kind of mental illness? Please, let's discuss this in the comment section. I know that a lot of us already know about this story. Even if you know about the story, or if this is the first time you're hearing this story, let us just discuss how we feel about it in the comment section, because this story actually gave me some kind of feeling. I don't know how people can be manipulated in such a way up till this time. Alright guys, if you've watched this video up until this point, please do well to click on the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up. Okay, give this video a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comment section as well. I like to say stay safe and stay informed, and until my next video, bye.